Hello and welcome to the Worn and Wound podcast. My name is Devin Pennypacker and I'm joined by a full panel of guests here excited to talk about the Windup Watch Fair for San Francisco. Right across from me is Garrett Jones, in-house photographer and second San Francisco journeyer. Garrett, how are you doing?
Doing great, Devin.
Next to him is Nellie Calhoun, who is the Windup Watch Fair extraordinaire. Nellie, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
And then, go ahead, you had more.
Oh, no, I'm just excited to be here and have you both on.
Oh, very cool. And then right across from her is Kyle Snar, head of partnerships, who is running around like a madman these days. Kyle, how are you?
I'm happy to be here. Happy to be talking to you guys about Windup. Can't wait to get out to the Bay Area.
Absolutely. Before we jump into the Bay Area and everything that is San Francisco in just 2 days here, let's do our wrist check. Kyle, what are you wearing?
Yeah, so I brought back one of my core favorites. I wear one of these watches every day, and I have multiple. It is my Marathon General Purpose, my little teeny tiny, nylon strap and kind of composite body. Three-hander. This is my automatic version. I also have a quartz in like a khaki. This one's black, but I literally wear one of those two watches at least once a day, mainly because they're the first ones I see in the morning when I wake up because the blazing hot, tritium loom.
That is assuming you sleep, and I'm pretty sure you don't sleep because you have a phone taped to your ear 24/7.
Nellie did ask me this morning, what time did I update a lead in our pipeline, and I was like, oh, that was about 5:50.
Yeah. I was dead asleep then.
Yeah, just blissfully dreaming of San Francisco.
Yeah, maybe not blissful. That's when the nightmares come.
Blissful
in the
happens
night.
next week after the show is done.
Exactly.
All right, Nellie, you're up. What are you rocking today?
Today I have on my Old Faithful, my baby Rolex OP that I picked up at one of my very first Windup watch fairs from Eric Wind. I wear this watch very often. I love it. It's a fave.
Yeah, I think I see it every day, at least a couple times a week. You're in the office wearing that piece around. Very cool piece.
I think that they should make the entire crystal of her watch a Cyclops.
That would be cool.
That's what I think. The entire top crystal.
He did just call you old.
No, it's mostly for me.
I can see this teeny tiny dial just fine.
All right, Garrett, you're up. What do you have on?
Yeah, so bit of a wind-up watch now. Making its second appearance back for San Francisco is my Elliott Brown black whiteout Holton. It's a GMT, so I can check New York time. I'm just being a nerd. That's really all there is to it.
All right, fair enough. And I have on my Citizen ProMaster Dive gold and blue tone dive watch.
I know that watch.
You do. You know that watch very well because this is actually how Kyle and I first connected. But it's a story I wrote a very long time ago for Worn and Wound about sailing in the Caribbean. And I'm meeting up with the Citizen team this afternoon for a very cool event that they're doing pre-Windup. But obviously we'll be hanging out with them out at Windup in San Francisco as well. So thought I'd put it on and charge it back up again because it's been in the watch box for a little while at this point.
It's solar, right?
It is solar, yes. Yeah. So it was double ticking quite a bit this morning, but now it is running just fine.
Cool.
All right, but with our wrist check out of the way, we're going to jump into the main topic of this podcast here, which is the Windup Watch Fair in San Francisco.
So what's really exciting is that this is the first time we've had Devin and Garrett on to talk about Windup specifically. It's typically, Blake rousing me and Kyle, asking us about all the goings on, but Garrett had a very interesting introduction to coming to San Francisco last year. It was actually his very first day working full-time for Worn and Wound was load-in day of San Francisco. So Garrett, I want to know about, before you worked for us, what was your experience of coming to Windup as an attendee?
Yeah, so my first Windup was October of 23, the last year that we were in the Altman building. And that show, granted, it sounds like it had been a progression over the years, but that show was just absolutely packed. I made the mistake, as I always do, of wearing a backpack. And I remember just having to fight my way through the floor, trying to get to, I don't remember who I was trying to go see at the time, but it was a madhouse. Clearly, you all at the time had done a lot and grown that fair, and then wound up, picking a new venue for 24. But it was an insane experience. As someone that was getting into watches but had been in the EDC community, it was really good for that show to go see the Giant Mouse guys and the Tactile Turn crew that was there, and then just learn about so many of the different watches, was introduced to Vero and Formex and William Wood and a whole bunch of other people that I'm forgetting the names of, but it just really drove the point home that, you know, it's an enthusiast community and we're doing it for those kinds of people.
So well, first of all, that's amazing. As the person who tries to rally that circus, for me, I'm always trying to build an event that centers around the community first. You know, we come because, you know, we sort of think that the event might be centered around watches and gear and product, but really what the event is about and who it's for is the community of people who love these products. So contrasting your packed New York experience, talk to us about jumping in day one of the job at the load-in day of San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, it was in a very different way, but very similar. It was a lot of chaos. There's a lot of moving pieces that happen over the 8-ish hours that we load into the venue the day before the show. And I remember, and this is kind of funny because all of us know the story now, but you have a infamous toolbox named Reba. And
Yeah,
at the time, I was in the venue at San Francisco and everybody's like, oh, Reba's coming. Reba has the gloves. And I was like, okay, great. I'll go get gloves from Reba. And it didn't click until like 2 hours later that Reba was a toolbox and not an actual person. But really, to answer your question, I mean, it's amazing to see all of the work and effort that goes into the show of that day, and then now being able to peek behind the curtain. It's just, you realize it's a year-long affair, no matter what show it is.
Yeah, it is a long process. And I'm glad you got properly introduced to my big red stackable toolbox with Reba McEntire's picture on it and a lot of bedazzled jewels. She's a very important part of the Windup community and the Windup team. But I'm excited to have you back with a little more, more windups under your belt. But I knew that Garrett was going to be a good fit when we were in this staff room in San Francisco, and he pulls out like a tiny pouch and unfolds a full camping chair and just sat down in his own camping chair.
Everyone else is like standing around or sitting on the floor, and he's the most comfortable looking person on the planet.
Yeah, easy peasy. And you know, you give Reba a run for her money with the way that you pack tools. Often we're joking with Garrett like, hey, do you have any cord or a knife, and you always pull out like 3 different bundles of cord,
hidden
different lengths, different yeah, it's pretty amazing. So we're excited to have you back, Garrett. So Devin, I want to hear about your experience as an attendee at the Windup Fair.
Well, so it all started back when I was roughly 18 years old.
Okay.
This will be my first ever San Francisco, my first time ever going to San Francisco. I've never made it out there for a wind-up, and I'm very excited to see the venue, very excited to see the bay, excited to see actual grass that's not covered in dog feces, which is all we have in New York.
Such New York shade, such New York shade.
But yeah, very, very excited for all the natural light and some sunshine and some cold, sea, misty air, which I'm sure we're going to have the whole experience of. But going into it, I'm really looking forward to seeing the whole roster, seeing the entire space kind of filled out, hoping that I can figure out how to train my eye a little bit quicker, because I know, Garrett, you probably know this, but when you go to your first wind-up fair, you're kind of in this haze. You're running around, there's a whirlwind around you, everything's happening, you have to get photos of this and video of that, and it could be really jarring when you're in a venue that you've never been in before. So walking into my first ever San Francisco, I'm hoping that I can lock in a little bit sooner than I typically will, but otherwise just kind of soaking it all in and really enjoying what we have going on out there.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right.
So should we talk about the fun fact that this, not only is this an important wind-up, this is an important wind-up year. Mm-hmm. This is the 10th anniversary of Windup. Worn and Wound has been doing this for 10 full years.
A full decade.
And the vast majority of those wind-ups have happened in the back half of that 10 years, because it's not one wind-up a year anymore. In fact, this year we're doing 4.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing thing for this kind of like structure of almost like the exact opposite of kind of a Swiss luxury watch trade show. Yeah. Like the idea that, we're peeling back any barriers to access these watches. Literally, it's free and open to the public. There's literally like no watches under glass, like literally removing those barriers as well. And it's come as you are. It's no appointments necessary. We always kind of say no red velvet ropes. No no appointments needed to be made with the people you're trying to get in contact with, and that formula for kind of creating what a watch enthusiast event looks and feels like was set by Windup 10 years ago, and now what we always say is like you're always going to have a good time when you put a bunch of cool watches in a room with a bunch of watch nerds. It's always going to be a good time. And you can see that as there are events happening all over the world now that are some following this pattern, others changing that pattern and doing other things. But I think for me at least, what Windup has come to represent is it really kind of represents a brand that represents the will of the enthusiast, right?
Yeah.
And I think New York, with the size of it last year and just the fact that so much of the kind of traditional watch industry walked the halls of New York, and we're kind of like, whoa, like, what is this? And who are these people?
And how?
And and I think it was a pretty amazing moment for the industry to kind of see what the enthusiast community really, the power that it has.
Yeah.
And so I love that Windup has come to represent the will of the enthusiast for the watch industry as a whole.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a big thing to kind of set the stage for people who are enthusiasts who might not have come before. A lot of people are familiar with Watches and Wonders or other traditional watch shows. Take off the white gloves, swap out champagne for Bruichladdich whiskey, swap out your suit jacket for a denim jacket, and just walk right in, because we are free and open. And it's just a very welcoming, relaxed, calm environment to be in, with a lot of enthusiasm and excitement kind of buzzing throughout the halls. I think we all kind of walk in there and the show opens and the energy picks up and we're running around like Tasmanian devils out there. But come end of show, all of a sudden all that energy leaves and you try to relax a little bit because you feel it. Throughout the entire fair, you feed off of everyone's energy and enthusiasm. And it's incredible.
Would you say you experience enthusiasm?
I would say I'm intoxicated by the experience of enthusiasm.
Nice. Cool.
Well, so for the folks who want to kind of get in and out and get the details for San Francisco, why don't we start there? Yeah. So the 2025 Windup Watch Fair San Francisco is taking place at Fort Mason Center at Pier 2 in the Gateway Pavilion at 2 Marina Boulevard in San Francisco. The event will begin on Friday, May 2nd. We will be open from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Again on Saturday, May 3rd from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday, May 4th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. As everyone has mentioned, the Windup Fair is totally free and open to the public. No registration is needed to attend. And the great thing about Fort Mason is there is parking on premises. There's a big parking lot, but we know we have a lot of people. So if you need to park, make sure you get there early. There is also additional parking on the street just outside of the campus. And it's very easily accessible by both ferries and public transit in San Francisco. And walking. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful there. So should we dig into some of the brands that are going to be joining us?
Yeah. Should we talk about our lead sponsors?
I think that's a great place to kick it off.
Nice. Yeah, we're really excited. I think the San Francisco venue that we've started at last year and continuing the space this year really creates some very amazing spots for our lead sponsors to kind of be able to spread out and kind of show off what they've got. As you walk in, we'll do this rather than alphabetically. We can talk about it as you kind of walk in. Sure. Okay, cool. As you walk into the building there at the Gateway Pavilion, first and foremost, you'll walk through our EDC Expo, which will be situated at the front of the building, much like New York, if you were able to attend New York last year. We've kind of changed that up a little bit from last year, but you walk in and then the first lead sponsor you'll encounter will be Fortis. Fortis sits will be to your left and occupies kind of a room of its own, which they deck out with their Fortis vibes, which I think are very cool, industrial fitting of their watches. The next one up will be a brand new lead sponsor for the Windup Watch Fair. It will be Frederic Constant. We're really excited to have them come in. FC has been creating some amazing movements lately, and
Yes.
we're definitely interested in them from a technical standpoint. So the fact they wanted to come in and be a lead sponsor for us is awesome.
Huge.
So we'll definitely be stoked to see what they bring to the table. And then towards kind of like the back of the main hall there is our friends at Oris. Obviously, Oris had some really cool announcements at Watches and Wonders, so I'm excited to see several of their new releases that they'll have, a bunch of new colorways. I know their new pointer date particularly is pretty attractive.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful redesign. There are haters out there for sure who like the traditional one, but try it on. You're going to love the new one.
Nice. Yeah, I think it looks amazing. Then there's a giant staircase, which you'll walk up this giant staircase, and you have to make the decision of a lifetime. You either turn left or you turn right. If you turn left, you'll head over to Christopher Ward, which I'm sure will be a little loco based on the fact that...
Okay, I knew the dad joke
Come
was
on.
going to come
Yeah,
in.
it's gotta
I
happen.
knew it.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that the loco is there, or you can turn right and you'll reach the booth for Anne Ordain, which frankly for me is like the way that they treated their booth last year and they're continuing to treat it this year is kind of one of my favorite ways of how any of our brands have ever exhibited at a Windup. They kind of forego the typical counters, like kind of barrier.
Brand on one side, audience on the
brand
other.
on one side, consumer on the other, and they just put out a large table, and there's a lot to see, and it's all about process. It's all about the art and the craftsmanship of their process and dials, and it's really hands-on and feels like they're inviting you into their space, which I think is a really cool way to stage their booth. And I always use them as a best-in-class reference of how I would recommend brands thinking about changing things up, perhaps. So,
Well, I think the design of their booth is a beautiful extension of the beautiful design and craftsmanship of their timepieces.
Yeah.
And the people behind the brand. I mean, that's a huge point of this fair is you're talking to the people behind the brand and just some of the most lovely people in the industry too.
yeah, exactly. So, cool lead sponsors, right? Like, I mean,
Super cool. I'm going to break this down for watch nerds very quickly. You walk in, you go to Fortis, you have the updated Novanaut, you have the new Vagabond. Try both of those on. You go past, you go to Frederic Constant, 33 in-house manufactured movements, very important brand to the industry. People don't pay enough attention to them. Go to Oris, try on the pointer date, go upstairs, pick which way you're going, try on the new Loco, look at the new Anne Ordains. That natural light shining on those enamel dials is going to be something special. So there, plan your route accordingly, but that's my recommendation.
cool. Love it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Stamp of approval from Devin.
100%. Yeah, super cool path.
We need to get you like a little critics pick logo.
Oh, okay.
That could be dangerous, actually.
That's,
That could be
that's
very
rough
much
stuff. That's rough stuff.
We also have a number of amazing premier sponsors that are joining us as well, from some familiar faces and some new folks and local folks. So we have Accutron joining us. Obviously, you should check out their electrostatic movement.
Good job with that one. Molly.
I did stutter a little bit, but that's just phlegm.
That's fine.
We also will have returning brand Alpina, local Bay Area brand bespoke watch projects. Make sure you say hey to John. We have our friends again from Berclotti, amazing scotch made on Islay up in Scotland. They'll be doing a tasting booth, so you can try it for the first time or second time or third time. They're also hosting our bar service, which we'll touch on a little bit later. Returning brands as well. We have our friends back from Bulova. They are releasing a pretty special limited edition watch.
Yeah. So, I mean, you all have seen kind of their reinterpretation of the snorkel that came out this year. What's the case material, Devin?
It is a bioceramic. So it's a ceramic impregnated bioresin. But for those who have touched a lot of the Moon Swatch variants out there or the Scuba 50 Fathoms, this feels much nicer in hand. It has a much heftier feel, a bit of a premium touch to it. It's not plastic. I promise it feels a whole lot nicer.
Yeah, I think when those came out, the standard collection, they were here in the office and we all were kind of grabbing them and geeking
Yeah.
out on them and being pretty stoked. And we'd created a lot of content around how much
ton.
these have kind of like resonated with us.
Yeah.
So when Bulova reached out and asked, hey, like, can we do a special edition for San Francisco of that particular case shape and material? We were like, yeah.
Please.
And we've actually created a full bundle with that will be sold exclusively at the San Francisco show.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a great story on our site with amazing photos that Garrett took of this. Garrett, when you were shooting this watch, anything stand out to you? Or
I mean, it's really hard not to just mention the entire watch because all of and correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the cases on the 4 original snorkels they re-released are white or off-white.
The cases?
Yes.
They have some
Think
vibrant
there's a
colors. They have
gray
blue
one,
and there's
too.
gray
Yeah,
and-
they are
yeah.
colored.
Yeah, they do colors.
And then with ours, the case that they've done for this one is like a dark charcoal gray,
Yeah.
which really contrasts against the orange of the strap, the bezel, and the dial. So it's just very poppy, very summery.
Very nice. You
great
said you were going to
combos.
pick one up, I believe.
Yeah, I'm spending money before we even hit the ground. This is going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, definitely swing by the Bulova booth to check out this bundle that is exclusive to San Francisco.
I just want to
Very
buy
exciting.
the box. That box is super cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Print like a custom printed, illustrated, fully illustrated box specific to the San Francisco
Amazing.
area, plus an adapt strap and an adapt carrying case.
Yes.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, very nice bundle.
A couple other brands that will be there as premier sponsors are our friends at Citizen, of course, who I think they're going to bring some kind of thematic watches for the day of the last day of the fair.
They have a lot of very cool things coming out this year, and this
Yeah.
is kind of the start of that trend.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
And then some more local brands like Lokai and Triber Timepieces. We're happy to always host and kind of shout out the local brands to each of those fairs.
Yeah.
Pollen will be is one of our premier sponsors with their sister company Anordain. And then just want to shout out Watch Gang, which if you don't know Watch Gang, they are a longtime sponsor of the Worn and Wound of the Windup Watch Fair. They've always been there to powering a few different brands behind the scenes, like Laco and Armand Nicolet. But now they're coming in and they're really kind of letting you know who they are and what the benefits are. So Watch Gang is a community where you can sign up to get basically a new watch every month, but they also have some really cool activations that allow you to win watches, and they will be activating at the fair. So that's awesome. So if you come in and you want to know where to spin the wheel for Watch Gang, just ask the front desk and they'll point you in the right direction. And then I just want to kind of rewind on your way back out after you've spent all your time with those amazing watch brands. If you didn't find that perfect watch, or if you need an accessory or a complementary sort of tool or piece of gear to complement the watch you did find, spend some more time at the EDC Expo on your way out. So again, this is the EDC Expo presented by our friends at Nomadic.
And Kyle, for the uninitiated,
Sure.
what is EDC?
Oh, well, look at that. Yes. So, Garrett, for the uninitiated, what is EDC?
So EDC has kind of been, let me back up. EDC that you may know of is a music festival, which is not what we're talking about. We are talking about Everyday Carry, abruptly abbreviated to EDC, but it's the tools, gear, bags, wallets, knives, you name it, that you carry on your person or with you every day that just helps you get a task done, from opening a box to tightening a loose screw, or even using an AirTag to find your lost wallet.
Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, we take that for granted. You're right, Nelly. But I think all of us here at Worn and Wound, we care deeply about what's on our wrist. That also kind of translates to the fact that we care deeply about what's in our pockets and what's on our feet and what's on our eyes and stuff like that. So we have some awesome non-watch brands and watch accessory brands there in EDC Expo. Again, presented by our friends at Nomadic, who make amazing carry solutions for all kinds of travel and professional needs. A couple things that we want to point out that happening that are especially cool in EDC Expo is we have Lucadia Blade Co., which is a California-based knife company, who will be providing laser etching there on site. So that's very, very exciting. So if you want something metal etched in with a laser, it can be a knife, it can be a watch, it can be a variety of things. They will be doing those laser etchings on site. And then also we have another show exclusive with our friends at ProTech Knife, and they're releasing. They go to a ton of different shows around the U.S. and always have a show exclusive knife. They're very sought after. And I know, Garrett, you're pretty familiar with this. Can you tell us a little bit about why their particular knife is so special here at the show?
Yeah, so ProTech, like you mentioned, does a lot of fairs, a lot of events, and always brings something special to the table to make the show special. So this year for California, they have crafted a TR3 Integrity, which is a button-activated manual folder, so it's much more legal than some of the other offerings you may know them from. But it's a milled aluminum scale with what they call their... I'm blanking on the name of the pattern now, but it's a little triangle design that just gives you a lot of grip on the scales when you're using them. It's their battle-worn finish, so it's kind of worn in already. It's a beautiful blue. And then it's a 3.5-inch stone-washed S35 VN blade, which for those of y'all that know knives and gear will know that S35 is a very good middle-of-the-road steel. It's easy to use, easy to maintain, easy to resharpen, but it's not going to snap and break on you like some of the other super steels will.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that when they approached us with this idea of kind of creating a fair specific knife, we were really into it. And honestly, I'm a little shocked and surprised how stoked people are to get their hands on this thing, just because I wasn't as familiar with their knives before them coming to New York for the first time in October. But now I'm like all in, so it's pretty exciting. Awesome. So yeah, obviously outside of our key and premier brands, we have a whole bunch of other brands. And later on in this podcast, stay tuned, folks, because Nellie will be doing her rapid fire full breakdown of the over what now
95 brands.
95 brands coming. I mean, we used to say, there was 80 or more, and then it was like nearly 90. Now it's 95. Amazing.
That's
amazing.
crazy.
I have to update some graphics somewhere, I think. Well, cool. So another thing that's happening at the fair is we always have, whenever possible, I should say, we love to have panels and content being produced at the fair. San Francisco, if you were there last year, you know that it's got a great space to do this. We actually have a room dedicated as kind of we call it our panel and podcast room. And we have a full slate of panels and content kind of being produced there every single day. So I'll just do a quick rundown if that's cool with you guys.
Yeah,
Cool. So first and foremost, on Friday, our first panel of the day will be about 2:00, and it's called Making Watches for the Enthusiast versus the Curious. And we'll have representatives from Abingdon, Brew, and Artifact there. These folks have either made watches that were for kind of the general watch public and then started to make them for the enthusiast as well, or started off in the enthusiast world and then now they're kind of opening it up to the general public, or have designed watches for both communities for years and years and years.
That is a full passionate panel. Those are 3 people who fully dove into what they consider their niche with a lot of passion, and everyone found that very attractive, and now their audiences have kind of exploded because of that. So that'll be a pretty engaging and entertaining one.
So Abingdon from Abingdon,
Yeah.
John from Brew, and Brandon from Artifact. So that's exciting. Really happy about this one. Hosted by our one and only Zach Kazan. He's going to be doing double duty on Friday because later that day he'll be sitting down with Kara Smith, who is the enameler and engraver for Anordain, and Ewan Marcer Law, who is their design engineer, and really kind of digging into what we're calling understanding the art of enameling. So if you ever wanted to know what is up with the enamel dial, this is the place to be. You're going to get a full technical kind of deep dive into the art.
You'll learn why the wait list is so long.
Yeah, there you go. On Saturday, we have 2, I think, barn burner of panels that are going to be super exciting. So the first one is Zach Weiss will be sitting down with the one and only Michael Pearson, and the senior watch designer of Christopher Ward, Will Brackfield, and they will be talking the C12 Loco design and engineering and taking this kind of yet another kind of pivotal watch in the Christopher Ward story and really dissecting it for them. So that's going to be one definitely not to miss. Learn all about the exposed balance wheel and all of that jazz.
That's not just a brand pivotal watch. That is an industry pivotal watch. We're going to see a lot of trickle down from that piece, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's going to be important. That's a big one. Don't miss that one.
And again, for panels not to miss, the follow-up to that one is going to be quite an interesting one as well. It's called The Price of Precision, Tariffs, Trade, and Timepieces. Zach Kazan will be monitoring a 4-person panel that will be VJ Geronimo from Oris, Mark from LongIslandWatch.com, and RT from Vortic.
I'm gonna wind them up as much as I can.
As well as our CEO Blake Mallon will be joining that as well. So these are for key industry professionals with mega, I guess, perspectives on this topic of tariffs. I know Mark's had multiple viral videos at this point on the topic. RT has gone mega deep into figuring out how tariffs can or should be used to actually make it better for American watchmaking, not worse. And it'll be kind of an interesting. Hopefully, we get this one on. We will get this one on tape, but it will be a really interesting. Yeah,
this will be really cool. Mark from Long Island shared his tariff bill that he actually just received.
I think I saw that.
This panel. This is a very open and honest panel. This is going to be a very respectful but potentially heated discussion. I mean, grab your
passionate
sample whiskey.
Discussion.
Yeah, passionate.
Passionate.
Grab a whiskey and sit down in the crowd because it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And I think this is obviously just such a topical and very, impactful for this industry and for consumers. So go with an open mind and see what happens there. But I'm sure you'll walk away having learned something and potentially a new perspective and new understanding.
I will say, there's 3 people on this panel that are doing bits of watchmaking in very different avenues. Mm-hmm. So you have American making, overseas making, and Swiss manufacturing, all represented by different people. So there's a lot of very niche but very relevant information for things that are impacted or could be, and we'll get into that. I think everyone's going to learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
And ultimately how it impacts the consumer.
Everybody, all of us, everyone listening and on this podcast right now, for sure.
Yeah. Totally. And then on Sunday, we'll bring it home with a final panel. It's going to be called Offline by Design, creating products that reconnect us with the real world. And this will be focused on our EDC Expo brands. We'll have Jed Rose, who's the co-founder and president at Topo Designs, joining us. We'll have Hannah McPhee, who's the co-founder at Nanu Electric, and Patrick Ma, who's the founder and CEO of Prometheus Design Works. So that will be hosted by yours truly. And we'll be digging into how do you design products that inspire you to unplug and get away from the screens and get out and experience the real world a little bit better.
Yeah. From 3 incredible design forces, too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, that's a really, really cool one, and one with, a bit of a grounding topic, which
Hopefully.
I think is very important for a lot of us, too.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a nice way to close out the fair with
Absolutely.
Getting some EDC Expo vibes in there.
Yeah.
And if you head over to windupwatchfair.com, there is a full listing of the schedule of events, panels that are running throughout the fair. So make sure you head over there, check it out. You can look at all of the descriptions and help plan out your time at the Windup Watch Fair. This is also a good time to mention that all of these panels will be recorded and released on our platforms after the fair. So if you can't make it in person, you won't be missing out on any of these hot discussions.
Awesome. We have all kinds of other fun things happening at the fair. Nellie, do you want to give us a quick rundown of all the fun little weird things that are happening?
Absolutely. Fun little weirds are my specialty. So some of the extra pieces that are part of the fair, we have a great giveaway from Forstner and the Windup Watch Shop that will be hosted at the reception desk. You'll also be able to enter online. So if you, again, can't be at the fair in person, you're not going to miss out on all of the fun. Our friends from Brooklotti are hosting the bar. So I always say that's a great place to start your adventure at the fair, or a good place to contemplate your purchases. Usually it means that you end up spending more than you want to, but that's okay. We will also have different rotating food trucks at the event every day with our friends from Off the Grid, great organization in San Francisco. And the patio out front will be outfitted with picnic tables. So hopefully we have beautiful sunny weather like we did last year, so you can go and enjoy some lunch outside as well. And last year, we really teased hard on the podcast that we would have some exclusive merch. There was some shipping, whoop-de-doo, it happens. We're all in the business of sending stuff all over the globe. But happy to report, we will have special merch available via the Windup Watch Shop, as well as our suite of available limited edition timepieces. And make sure at the beginning of the fair you pick up a booklet that comes with a full fair map, a breakdown of all of the brands, and will be a helpful tool in terms of sort of reviewing after. Bring a pen or pick one up at EDC Expo so you can make notes in your brand booklet, star the folks that you're really excited to see or want to learn more.
Because you will forget. This is a big list of brands, and by the end of it, your brain will be swimming. So take notes.
And speaking of the full list of brands, I think it's time.
Uh-oh.
I think it's time for me to read the full brand roster.
All right, hang on to
all
your
95
seats.
brands. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water first.
We'll just vamp in the meantime. There are a lot of brands on this list. I don't know how you're going to do this, but good luck,
And we have
Nellie.
over 20 brands that are either brand new to Windup watch fairs or brand new showing in San Francisco for the first time. So even if you've been, there will be a lot of new brands and people to meet and products to experience. So you can find all of these brands on windupwatchfair.com on our homepage if I'm going too fast for you to hear. The full brand roster for the 2025 Windup Watch Fair San Francisco is 19th and Abingdon, Accutron, Alpina, Anardane, Armand Nicolay, Artifact, Aviate, Ball, Baltic, Beaubleu, Benris, Bespoke Watch Projects, Boulder, Boundary Layers Studio, Brew Watch, Briston, Brooklotti, Bruno Sun, Bulova, Cadola, Christopher Ward, Simier, Citizen, Colorado Watch Co., CountyCom, D1 Milano, DeRike, Doxa, eBay, Echo Neutra, Elliott Brown, Fears, Fitwell, Buckle, Formex, Fortis, Frederic Constant, Furlan Mari, G-Shock, Ganance, Giant Mouse, Haim, Hampton, Hanhart, Hodinky Insurance, Orage, Islander, Jack Mason, Jacques Bianchi, Young Hans, Yonkers, Kyoto, Laco, Lucadia Blade Co., Lokai, Lorca, Makina, Marathon, March Lab, Monbray, Mr. Jones Watches, Nala Naram, Nanu, Nevada, Nomatic, Oaken Oscar, Oris, Pollen, Protect Knives, Prometheus Design Works, Rapport London, Resco Instruments, Rosenbush, Seiko Clock, Serica, Shinzo Tamura, Space One, Spinnaker, Strom, Studio Underdog, Titoni, Topo Designs, Trafford, Treber Timepieces, Tipsum, Venezianico, Vortic, Volcane, Watch Gang, Windup Watch Shop, Woolbrook, Zarek, Yama, Zodiac.
Woohoo.
And breathe.
I didn't do it all in one take. Peek behind the curtain. We
Oh,
do
no,
have to
you
go
don't have
this
to
way.
out yourself.
Oh, wow.
No,
we were
I-
all going to lie for
I
you,
gotta
Nellie.
stay honest.
Let's see. Is there a brand out of that master list, Garrett, you're excited to see, or learn about?
I mean, there's a lot on the watch side that I've heard in passing, so I don't want to call anybody out specific there because there's a lot of brands that I'm going to be learning about while we're there. But I think on the EDC side of the big one for me, obviously I'm good friends with the ProTech team, but Prometheus Design Works has been in my carry some shape, form, or fashion for years now. So meeting the team behind that brand, who, if you've done a deep dive and you know Softgoods history, is made of a very iconic team that has done some killer things for PDW and other brands in the past. So just putting faces with those brands is going to be great.
Yeah, they have some great straps and stuff too that they're going to be bringing specific to the watch community.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to check that out too. I haven't had hands-on with a lot of PDW stuff, but very excited to see it for sure.
What about you, Evan?
Oh,
Devin? What the heck?
yeah. There's a lot, honestly. There's a bunch of brands on here that have made my short list, and some that, to be completely honest, I didn't know were going to be at Windup San Francisco until somewhat recently because I've had my head in the sand and been working on other projects. So there are specific pieces that I can't wait to get hands-on with. I'm not going to name just one, Kyle. I'm sorry. I'm going to call out a couple here. Walbrook has a new skin diver that I'm super excited about. Volcane also has a skin diver, and the Cricket's super cool. Trafford has their new Day Tripper, which is awesome. Strom Dials, obviously, they've got those new colors. Very excited about those. Nanu has a cool bunch of design stuff on there. I'm going and going and going, and everyone's looking at me like, please wrap it up.
No.
But there's a lot of really, really cool pieces coming to this fair, and I have an entire sheet with a hit list, so to speak, that I need to go check out.
Awesome. I'm particularly excited about also an EDC brand that's going to be coming for the first time, which is Shinzo Tamura. They are a Japanese sunglass manufacturer that we are so excited. I got to kind of tell them about what Windup was, and it was like such an easy kind of way for them to convert their brain into like, yes, we need these. We want to be there. We want to be there with these kind of consumers. They specialize in polarized lenses, and they make some of the most advanced polarized lenses around. I'm pretty sure they also have like a whole like fishing edition of their lenses.
Cool.
So if you're into fishing or fly fishing, like obviously polarized glasses are a huge part of that to be able to see through the glare on top of the water. I think that they'll let you sneak out on the side and check them out over the railing and look into the bay to see how powerful the polarization is. But don't quote me on that, just in case they're like, no.
It's noise cancellation for your eyes, according to them, which is a pretty cool tagline.
There you go.
Yeah.
So check them out for sure. Is anything standing out to you, Nelly?
Oh, of course, but this is like choosing my favorite child. But
that's possible. Just joking, kids.
Spoken like a true dad of 4. Wow. No, just kidding. Well, on a personal note, Garrett has been a great solace in my recent tragedy of leaving my travel kit on a plane. So my classic little pouch with all of my fixings and wires and hand sanitizer and wipes and everything that I need for my travel kit got left behind, not to be returned by American Airlines. Not their fault, it was mine. So I'm really excited to head over to the Topo booth. They always have great pouches, great travel gear, and really fun colorways. So hopefully a bright, loud color will help me see it and not leave it on the plane. So ready to add some stuff to my travel kit.
Cool.
Very cool.
Awesome. Should we just run down just the facts one more time?
Yeah, Nelly, read the whole list one more time for us.
Yeah, right. So we will be looking forward to seeing you at the 2025 Windup Watch Fair San Francisco, the second of 4 stops on our 10th anniversary tour. We will be at Fort Mason Center, Pier 2 Gateway Pavilion on Friday, May 2nd from 12 to 6, Saturday, May 3rd from 12 to 6, Sunday, May 4th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. And you can follow along for all the latest and greatest info at windupwatchfair.com or at windupwatchfair on social media. And we will see you there. We're so excited.
Woohoo!
Cool. Yeah. Cool. I guess that's a good place to leave that conversation. We're looking forward to meeting all of you out there, sharing the fair with you, sharing that experience with all of you. So thank you all for listening along, and we will catch you in the next episode if you are not in San Francisco. But otherwise, we'll see you on the ground.